I've alluded to it in recent episodes, but have only shared the story on Jim Harold's Campfire podcast when he recorded the live episode at MonsterFest 2. Keep listening to hear the story of the haunting of my new home. Welcome to the Peep Podcast. I'm your host, Nicolle, and if you're just finding the show, thanks for giving it a try. The two big ideas behind the Peep Podcast are to show that the paranormal is more normal than most people think, and to connect the science to the psi, including ESP, psychokinesis, and intuition. On this episode, I'm sharing a personal story of how something really angry wanted my attention when I moved into my new home earlier this year. But first, I have a few reminders for you. For the past 14 years, I've been participating in the Haunted Carolina program with Wake County Public Libraries, and this year is no different. I'm honored to be invited back every year. This year, I'll be doing 6 in-person presentations and 1 virtual presentation. The virtual one will be via Zoom in conjunction with my friends in the Ghost Guild. If you listened to episode 82, you met Nelson Noss, co-founder of that group. On October 5th, the Ghost Guild and I will be at Mystic Farm Distillery in Durham to do a paranormal program at 7 p.m. If you've signed up for my newsletter, you should have received an email with all the details and links this past week. If you didn't see it in your inbox, please check your spam folder and mark me as not spam. The details are also listed in my blog. Just go to peeppodcast.com and click the blog tab to find them. Yes, it's going to be a busy October, and I honestly wouldn't have it any other way. Come see me if you're local to the Triangle area of North Carolina, or join the virtual presentation on the 24th. Now back to the episode and the story of what happened when I finally moved into my new home. In the first week of January, I got the sudden urge to move. I'd been living in my house for 7 years. The town was growing fast, and my quiet road wasn't quiet anymore. The way people used it as a cut-through, even though it was really not any shorter, and sped through the 35-mile-per-hour zone, I was afraid I was going to witness a pet or a child get killed. I put an offer on a new house farther out in the country in a brand new neighborhood that is still being built. Then I put my little starter home up for sale. It sold pretty quickly, in under 2 weeks, but that's when everything went wonky. Despite my being told that they were pre-qualified by their agent, my buyer struggled with funding, being abused by a bank that was basically practicing predatory lending. After moving my closing date several times over the course of a month, I finally got to close. I received my keys to the new house on a Tuesday night, and I moved the next morning. This was in mid-March. Normally, I would have taken a day or two between getting the keys and moving in to spend a little time preparing the house with cleaning, good vibes, sage, and holy water. But after postponing the movers, the refrigerator delivery, the couch delivery, internet service, and all of that, I just needed to move quickly. That should not have been a problem though, right? It was a brand new house, and the energy felt great when I looked at it and on subsequent visits. The first night here was pretty quiet. I was trying to train my black cat, Penny, to use the litter box because she'd always been an indoor-outdoor cat, and the new neighborhood came with restrictive covenants and rules against letting your animals roam free. She was almost 10 years old and had always hated the litter box, so it was not going well. When she begged and begged, I finally let her out. I mean, otherwise I might have found cat poo on the new carpet or in my shoe. She didn't come back the next morning, or the next, or the next. I was worried, annoyed, frustrated, and then sad. I was giving up on her when she finally returned on the 5th day. For a while after that, she didn't want to go outside again, and she started using the litter box. I wondered what thing in the woods behind my home scared her so much. Of course, my thinking at the time was maybe a bobcat or a coyote or something along those lines. So I bought a trail cam. And hey, maybe I'll see Bigfoot because he's been reported about 45 minutes away. Anyway, that was a bit off topic. While Penny was gone, something odd happened with my laptop. My desktop died before I moved, so I had to use my laptop to set up new accounts, pay my bills, and update my address. The second day in my new home, I opened the laptop, and I wasn't 5 minutes into those tasks when something kept trying to open a new tab in my browser. At first, I wondered how I was accidentally doing it until I stopped touching the screen and it happened again. My next thought was that I had some sort of virus that gave someone else remote control, and that made me mad. So I tried to close the browser, and it opened back up. I tried again, and again it reopened. After the third time, I tried just turning off the computer, and every time I got the cursor to the power off button, it clicked out of the box. Then it dawned on me, the laptop is a touchscreen. I opened the power button and tapped the screen before whoever was wrestling for control could undo it again. The laptop shut off and my anxiety went sky high. My desktop was out of commission and my laptop seemed to have an evil bug. But how? I used that laptop on vacation and for my presentations at the libraries during spooky season. Nobody else has access, and I'm rarely even online on it. The cybersecurity training we go through at my job has me paranoid about downloading anything and clicking links, so I knew I didn't do that. How could this have happened? I found instructions for starting in safe mode and running virus scans and did everything I could the following day to find the culprit, and nothing was found. I cautiously opened the laptop normally after that, and it was fine. There was no sign of any issues, and I've used it several times since then with no trouble. The noises started during my second week here. I blew them off as new house sounds that I just needed to get used to. With each instance, they were louder, until one evening around 8:30, it sounded like something huge hit the roof. I walked into the bedroom and Penny was standing on the bed on high alert. She'd heard it too. It was dark outside, so I didn't bother going out to look to see what it was. With no trees near the house and no storm brewing, I knew it wasn't a limb or anything like that. About a week later, I experienced the strangest thing that has ever happened to me, and that's saying a lot. My house has an open floor plan where the living room and kitchen dining area flow into each other. Toward the front of the house, there's a short hallway that leads to the laundry room, and then a longer hallway around that corner with 3 of my 4 bedrooms. I was making dinner when I saw Penny turn the corner from the hallway and walk up to the kitchen area and sit down near me. I said something to her to acknowledge her, and then I turned my back for half a second to put something on the counter. When I turned around, Penny was coming around the corner from that hallway and walked up to me and sat down near my feet, literally repeating the same motion she'd just gone through a few seconds before, and she had had no time to go back around the corner and come back. I froze. What had just happened? That time I bent down to pet her, and she was solid. So had I just had some sort of time slip or a glitch in the matrix? Or did something imitate her that first time and disappear before she came into the room? That one left me questioning my sanity for a minute, but I let it go. Early in the morning on Friday, April 12th, things got frightening. I woke around 4:15 to use the restroom, and as I was falling back to sleep, there was a loud pop to the side of my bed where my antique nightstand is. I turned the lamp on and looked, but I didn't see anything. It's made of thick wood, so I told myself that the wood was just adjusting to the barometric pressure or a temperature change. Then I turned off the lamp and drifted back to sleep. To set the scene, if I'm lying on my back, the nightstand with the lamp, some books, a box of tissues, and my phone is to my right. There is nothing on the other side of the bed. To fall asleep, I have to lie on my left side, facing away from the nightstand, and eventually I'll roll over onto my back. I hadn't been asleep for very long when it happened because I was still lying on my side. My hands were in front of my face, almost like I was shielding myself from something. I woke but kept my eyes closed because I was aware of an unbelievably bright light just to the left of my face, and it seemed to be getting more intense, like it was getting closer. Only that didn't make sense because that's where my pillow was. The lamp was behind me and turned off, so it couldn't have been that either. I didn't open my eyes because I didn't want to be blinded, so I was lying still with my eyes closed, trying to figure out what I was experiencing. Then I felt a pressure near the center of the top of my forehead, as if someone were pushing with their finger very hard. Suddenly, my scalp felt like it was shrinking. It got really tight, and from that point of pressure, I felt like my scalp started to ripple. I can't explain it any other way. The ripple moved around my head and down my neck, and by the time it hit my shoulders, I was saying the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Then it just stopped at my shoulders. I only needed one line, and it stopped. The light was gone, and I opened my eyes. Nothing. I rolled over and turned on the lamp and looked at my clock. It was about 4:45. I laid there until my alarm went off, wondering if I'd had some sort of stroke. I tested my ability to move and smile and talk, and all seemed fine. When I got up, I Googled symptoms of different kinds of strokes, and nothing matched up to my experience. Seriously, even then, I was not thinking paranormal. I was on my way to work that morning when I started putting things together. So when I got to dinner that evening with Spirits and Spooks, the group I founded 5 years ago that meets monthly to discuss paranormal experiences, I asked the members with some medical experience if they'd thought that I had a stroke, and the answer was no. And after sharing everything else that had happened leading up to that, most of us were leaning toward a paranormal explanation. The next day, I attended Encounter Quest in Hamlet, North Carolina, and shared the story with another friend who's into these things. He thought it might be more along the lines of an alien encounter, and if you know me, you know that freaks me out 1,000,000 times more than a haunting. I'm a paranormal investigator after all. I can handle a ghost. I contacted my friend Rick Noriega, a shaman who I interviewed on episode 12. I actually met him because of this podcast, and we've become friends since then. I asked him if he could tell from a distance if someone had picked up a spirit attachment. That's where my head was at this point. I could have picked up an attachment when I was so stressed out that my psychic walls were not as strong as usual. We set an appointment for the following Monday before work. Sunday was quiet, but around 4:15 a.m. Monday, I had a different sort of experience. This time I was dreaming. It started out as a normal dream. I was at the Lincoln Theater, and there was going to be a good concert, but nobody else was there. I was wandering around the place looking for friends, asking the staff where everybody was. Why would people not come to such a great show? Finally, people started arriving, and I was happy. Then everything went dark as if the lights were turned out on my dream. I saw myself from behind, and a hand was reaching toward my back as if it were going to grab my shoulder. As I woke up, I scream whispered, "Go away!" And I literally felt something hit my back, go through me, and leave through my chest. I was fully awake as it exited, and the covers lifted off of me and then settled back on me as something had just moved through them. I prayed. At this point, I was more annoyed than freaked out. I needed to know if I had an attachment or a ghost. While I'm psychic and an investigator, I wanted another set of practiced eyes on the situation so my own personal biases and concerns couldn't play a role in my solution. Rick and I had our session via Zoom that morning. He psychically scanned me and told me that I did not have an attachment, which was a relief. Then he tuned into my home. He said I had something light and something dark here. The light being was here to protect me, and the dark being was attached to the land. It was angry about the construction of the neighborhood and angry that I had been ignoring it. That's all I needed to know. As soon as I was done with work that evening, I opened all the windows of the house, broke out my smudge stick and holy water, and I cleared the house and blessed it. I told the thing that only love and light are allowed here, and it had to leave. I wasn't responsible for the sale of the land or the construction of the neighborhood, but I bought this house and I planned to stay, and it had to leave. And I haven't had problems since then. Now, I don't know if it went to a neighbor's or if it's just outside somewhere, and I don't care. I've hung the paranormal flag outside, so to speak, with a little Halloween decoration on my front flower bed all year, so if a neighbor has paranormal problems, they can feel free to talk to me. I'll take care of it. Before you ask why I didn't just break out my digital recorder and do an EVP session, I'll tell you. It's different when it's happening in my own house, and I'm being physically attacked. I didn't want a message. I wanted it gone. I share this story because I want you to know that even a seasoned investigator, energy worker, and intuitive can have these experiences. The logical side of me is still strong. I didn't jump to the conclusion of something truly paranormal happening until the evidence tipped in that direction. And then I took action. Thank you for listening. If you are interested in sharing your own paranormal experiences, or if you have an idea for an episode topic, please reach out through the contact form at peeppodcast.com. That's PEEP podcast.com. Remember, that stands for People Experiencing Everyday Paranormal. While you're there, subscribe to my newsletter to keep up with the podcast and all my creative and energetic endeavors. I only email it once a month, except for in September, because I had to email all the dates and details of my October appearances out. You'll receive briefs on recent episodes, information on those upcoming appearances, and also some additional fun stuff. If you enjoy the podcast, please give it some rating love on your favorite podcast app. Share it with friends and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Ratings and reviews and shares help the platforms like Apple Podcasts and Spotify know the show is worthy of surfacing to new listeners. A huge thank you to everyone who's given the show some love. You are helping it grow. No matter how you support the show, listening, telling others about it, or any other way, I absolutely appreciate your being here. Thanks again for listening. Stay safe and be well.